Hello, I'm Lisa Kafer, healthy lifestyle coach and cooking instructor at cleanfoodcleanu.com. Welcome to the Fabulous Beyond 40 Summit, how to be healthy, vibrant, and energetic at any age. Today, I am very excited to welcome with us Ellen Tanner. Ellen is the award-winning author of Feeding the Hungry Ghost, Life, Faith, and What to Eat for Dinner. I love that title. Love it. Veg News Book of the Year, PETA's debut book of the Month Club pick. Huffington Post Meatless Monday blogger, Miami Herald syndicated columnist, the edgy veggie and soulful vegan writer and recipe developer for numerous publications. Ellen is a sought-after speaker, award-winning author, and influencer on issues related to veganism, kitchen literacy, conscious eating, sustainability, and farm to table. Ellen is gourmet guru for the Global Pulse Confederation, and ambassador for the American Pulse Association, providing outreach and original content and recipes. She lives La Vida Vegan in Miami. Welcome, Ellen. I hope I didn't mess that up too much.
No, you were excellent, Lisa. I'm so glad to talk to you.
Oh, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us today. Well, to start out for the first thing is we would ask you to tell us a little about yourself and your journey to where you are now.
Okay. Well, you just gave everyone some really nice backstory. But I think what really happened was I went vegetarian at 13 because I love cows and I wanted to piss off my parents a little bit. And that was great. It was a success on both counts. But, you know, there was a time when there wasn't an internet. There weren't a bazillion fabulous vegan products on the market. And so I had to figure it out for myself. I had to learn to cook, and I educated myself. I just, read everything I could. That's not such a bad thing to do, by the way.
No, definitely not.
And I think it helped me become a food writer because food writing, at least the way I like to do it, is subversive. I mean, you mentioned all the things I love to talk about. Writing about food lets me talk about everything that's important to me: the environment, ethics, pollution, education, health, celebrity chefs, and unsung farmers. And give people great recipes, too. I'm kind of into the value add. I learned a lot about the food system, and the more I learned about it, the more I realized I couldn't advocate my readers doing it either, eating stuff they shouldn't be eating. So in Feeding the Hungry Ghost, I try to give people gentle nudges, and in my Huffington Post Meatless Mondays, too, to create better habits little by little.
I like that.
I'm a big believer in the rule of one. Just, try one thing.
One bite.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny that you became vegan so early because I've found that to be a pattern in the vegan chefs that I have interviewed in this series. It seems like most of them, not all, but most of them became at least vegetarian or vegan very early in life. So that's very interesting.
It's never too late. It's always a good time.
Exactly, especially these days with all the processed foods and other things that we can consume that really don't serve us at all.
That's right.
Well, in your book, Feeding the Hungry Ghost, you mentioned that every meal can feed not only our bodies, but our souls and communities. Can you tell us about that?
We are so divided now, and I'm interested in what connects us. Food has always done that. And until, the last couple generations, the garden and the kitchen was where all the magic happened. That's where your parents taught you how to grow your food and cook the recipes that really tie us together. Now it's possible to get an abundance of recipes off the web, And wow, that's fantastic. It kind of keeps us apart. We forget the value of being really hands-on, of growing your own food, even if it's just, a pot of herbs on the windowsill, of filling your kitchen with fresh fruits and vegetables and the people you love so you can cook and share it together. We shouldn't be so isolated. If you can't grow your own food, get to know your local farmers. We are better together than apart, and food, to me, is the best way to grow community.
I like that. That's great. Yeah. If you go to your local farmer's market, you can really connect with those people who are growing your food.
Yeah, and you really understand what goes into it. And boy, I've got a teeny tiny little vegetable garden out back, and if my kale doesn't come up, I'm kind of mad at it. But wow, it just makes you appreciate what goes into growing food.
That's true. It gives you more of a connection to your food as well. Yeah, that's great. So, talking on our topic of Fabulous Beyond 40, you do some consulting to help people who want to eat greener. So why is this important, and what kind of things do you teach?
Well, it's important because we all want to be fabulous, right?
Exactly.
And cancer, heart disease, and diabetes are so just multiply that. That is so not fabulous. And we know these things are diet and lifestyle related. We have the power to choose another way, a better way. And, at first sometimes people say, oh, isn't vegan limiting? I say it doesn't mean less, it means more. It means more color on your plate, more flavor in your mouth, more nourishment in your body, more positive karma. Mm-hmm. It means being a more vital and vibrant and fabulous you. It means saving the animals and saving the planet. Hey, this is big. I am really into vegan for sustainability. I live in Miami. That's ground zero for climate change. I'd like to stay above sea level. And being plant-based is not only delicious, it's the single greatest multitasker I know. So one of the things I always say in my talks is my little mantra: less processed, more produce. That, to me, is like one of the greatest takeaways. If you're going to get a vegan pizza, which was not even possible when I was younger, put some extra vegetables on it. I don't say never eat a packaged cookie again, ever. I say try balancing that with some fresh or dried fruit to just get your body and your mouth used to these wonderful, nourishing, healing flavors and kind of rewire your brain, too.
Mm-hmm. And that does happen. I've noticed that myself because for years I did not like raw broccoli or raw cauliflower. And now, oh my gosh, it's like one of my favorite things. So your taste can change, not just as you grow older, but I think also as you change the chemistry of your body. When you reduce your inflammation and your pH, your things taste differently to you. Do you agree?
I absolutely do. And you mentioned processed food. They're fat, sugar, and salt bombs for a reason. It just does crazy things to your brain. It does rewire you. But you deserve better. We all deserve better. And if you can kind of dial down the noise and the fireworks in your brain and teach yourself to eat real food, it does make a difference. It just changes you on a cellular level.
That's true. It really does. It really does.
And I'm real happy about broccoli and cauliflower, by the way.
Well, I always liked it cooked, but I never liked it raw. And now I like it better raw. So, yeah, it's great. So funny. So if someone were to come to you as a consulting client, what kinds of things do they come to you for?
Well, every reason is good. Unfortunately, the most common is serious illness. I'm working with one client now who's like the sweetest guy in the world, and he's not even 50, and he's taking all these blood pressure medications and stuff. I'm thinking, oh, honey, you don't need to do this. Healthy eating, as I say, is a choice, but it's a very, very powerful one. You're not only improving your health, you just have a chance to change your life. In Feeding the Hungry Ghost, I say, change your diet, change your life, change the world. I believe that.
I agree.
And it's hard.
Change
is hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. I know some people who are on like high blood pressure medicine, and there's certain foods they can't eat because they affect the medication. And I'm thinking, okay, I would rather eat the foods that help my blood pressure than to take a medication that helps my blood pressure, because then you've got other things going on with those medications as well. So not effects. Yeah.
And I know it's easier for a lot of the old guard medical profession to say, oh, just here, I'm going to throw a pill at you and you're going to be fine. But we're really, I mean, just this telesummit is showing people that there's a better way, that you really have the power to heal yourself through your behavior, your lifestyle choices, and your diet. So that's cheaper and easier, and it feels better.
Exactly. That's why I put this summit together, was just for that reason, to get the word out to people that there is another way, a better way. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I was looking through your website, and I saw that one of the things that you teach is navigating the grocery store. Can you give us a few tips on how to do that?
Well, I'm big into literature, so sometimes I think of things in terms of the classics, like in the Odyssey when Ulysses had to steer between the two dangerous rocks that were going to crush him. Just sort of avoid those rocks, avoid the things that they may look delicious and they may taste delicious in the moment, but they don't nourish us. Right. I'm sure you've heard about shopping the perimeter. That's where the produce is. You cannot beat fresh fruits and vegetables for eye appeal and mouth appeal. And I love to concentrate on what's local and in season. You know, as a food writer, we think of these things, oh, it's a buzzword. But that's where the real flavor and the real value are. Oh, and value. I'm big into value because I'm basically cheap. So pantry staples like nuts and seeds and dried fruit and whole grains and dried beans, they're cheaper in bulk, they keep for ages, and they're really the cornerstones of our most satisfying meals. Sometimes people say, vegan, well, I can't eat lettuce all day. And, well, I couldn't either. I want more. Look, we all need to eat, and it's not a surprise. So fill your shopping basket and your kitchen and your life with what nourishes you. Let it crowd out the processed foods we know don't nourish.
Yeah. And since I've been on my journey of learning about nutrition, it's very hard for me to go to the grocery store now and see all the parents who are putting the garbage in their carts. I mean, you don't very often see any produce. It's all boxes and cans and bags, and it just kind of turns my stomach. It hurts my heart, really, because I'm thinking, oh, there's such a better way, but how do you get that? I mean, that's why I'm doing this, to get the word out to people, especially people with children, because the kids aren't learning any different either, you know. So
it's true, and when they do get that information, I'm sure you did it when you were a kid. You planted a seed maybe with your second grade class, and it grew, and you were so excited. And you came home and you told your parents. Kids are fantastic ambassadors, and if they get fired up about something, including growing and cooking their own food, I've done several different programming options with this. You can change. That's a great way to create change, because they're going to do it and their parents are going to do it. And it just a total generational win-win.
Absolutely. I've taught for the last several years healthy cooking classes for children, and it's one of my favorite things to do because the kids love it, and they take home that information to their parents, and it goes up the chain. Yeah, it's so fulfilling for me to work with the kids. I just love the kids.
And you're so empowering them, too. That's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I did a talk one time at a school, and I showed the kids how much sugar is in things like chocolate milk and soda pop and orange juice even. But they were amazed. I mean, it was a physical viewing of how much, they measured it out by tablespoons. And I had one little girl tell me, she said, I will never drink chocolate milk again because they don't realize how much sugar they're taking in.
No one does.
That was really fun.
No. Manufacturers want it that way. They make it very hard to navigate.
Yes, and to resist.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what are some challenges that your clients face in trying to eat a healthy plant-based diet, and how do you help them overcome those challenges?
I think, one of my clients called me at Thanksgiving. She was in a panic because this was going to be her first vegan Thanksgiving with her family, and she was already getting pushback. So how do you, social situations are a big deal. You want to be part of it, but you also deserve, we all want the foods we want. And I don't want to take anything away from anyone. So I said, well, you can't change them, at least not tonight, but make something wonderful for yourself that you can share. So we had done some quinoa with mushrooms. I said, that's going to go with everything, and just make plenty. So there's some for yourself and some for people to say, hey, you know what? This is really good. And then you can tell them later it's vegan.
Yeah, tell them later. Exactly.
My father had 3 helpings of vegan pumpkin pie, and then I told him it was vegan, and his face fell. I said, come on, you loved this. Just because it doesn't have dairy in it doesn't mean it's not good.
Right. So tell us how you made that pumpkin pie.
It was cashew cream and tofu and pumpkin and lots of spice. Every coffee shop now has pumpkin lattes, and they're seasonal. Well, they're not seasonal. It's just spice. Pumpkin really has a very mellow flavor, and it's the nutmeg and the ginger and the cinnamon that we love that we consider pumpkin spice. So ramp up the spice. Exactly.
And do you make a vegan crust as well? How do you do that?
Nut crusts are so great. I love to bake, but I'm not fussy. I can't do crimped edges. Nut crusts can press into the pan. They are sturdy. They don't get damp. They're good. I have a couple on my site. I'll have to send you the links.
Oh, yeah. That would be great. And your website is?
www.soulfulvegan.com.
Soulfulvegan.com. Exactly. Great. So you've got recipes on your website as well?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
I love developing.
So tell us. Oh, that's great. That's great fun. What are you working on right now that you're excited about?
Oh, I'm very excited. I'm so ready for 2018. I've got a new book proposal, Vegetable Love, 105 erotic recipes from artichoke to zucchini. I've got a bunch of presentations coming up all over the country. And you mentioned Pulses. I'm coordinating Pulse Innovation Miami. It's a big culinary and influencer event celebrating my favorite superfood, that's pulses, that's dried beans. I'm editing a new video about pulses. So many happy things are happening.
Wonderful. Oh, I thought of something else I wanted to ask you. Oh, what do you usually talk about when you do presentations?
It depends on what my market is. If I'm talking to kids, I love to get them hands-on. The medical profession, you're going a whole other way, and just telling them little things bit by bit. Don't try and overwhelm them, especially since they're old guard and are resistant. I love teaching the connection between what we eat and how we feel. And I love talking about sustainability. And as I say, the crossover point is all what we eat.
Right. So you also mentioned you loved farm to table. Tell us about that. What do you do with that?
Sometimes I work with my local farmers. God, we have such a great community here. But Miami is a city. I mean, even though some of the greatest food we grow comes from not too far away, it's hard if you live here and you live, a hustling urban life to remember that. So I love to connect our farmers with people who love to eat. So I've done a lot of farm-to-table dinners. I love to inform people as they're eating, like, wow, this comes from Homestead. Here's our grower. Here's what you can do with it. It gives people a fuller sense, and, it does develop community.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. And you also teach about kitchen literacy. Tell us a little about that.
Oh, wow, you have really hit on one of my favorite things. Cooking used to be a basic life skill, right? And it's not anymore. And we have such a disconnect. There's all these fabulous food shows, but most of my friends don't cook. They get by on processed. Or they think, takeout, I'm not going to, I'm just doing it for now. But there never seems to be a way to get beyond now. Teaching yourself basic cooking techniques. You don't have to be on Chopped. You just have to be able to feed yourself. And not only is it empowering, and you know what you're actually putting in your body, it's proven to be good for you. I was part of a story in Psychology Today about kitchen therapy, that some therapists are actually using this to give their patients a sense of empowerment, of well-being. And when you cook in the kitchen with someone, or even when you're preparing meals, you kind of have to negotiate things like, oh, I'd love to put another dollop of cashew cream in this. And you know what? I'm going to do it now, but the next time I make this, I won't. It really works all of you, and you get a great meal at the end, too.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And it is very empowering to be able to fix your own meal. And I think that's why I love teaching the kids so much, is that it empowers them, and they can go home and make the same thing that we made in the class for their family. And that's so fun. And then when they grow up, of course, they can cook for themselves as well when they're out on their own. So. And
I tell people, look, when you learn to cook and you feed people, you will never be without friends, because everyone wants to share a meal.
That's great. I hadn't thought about it that way, but yes, definitely. Yes, if you work in an office, the person who brings the food is always the most popular, right?
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Very good. Well, if you had some tips for us over 40 crowd, what would you tell us to be at least to stay or to become healthy, vibrant, and energetic?
Well, when I became vegan, there wasn't the internet, there weren't all these products out there, and I had to educate myself, which was good. But the great thing about living now is you don't have to go it alone. We have such a fabulous set of resources now that didn't exist before. So do a lot of research on the web. You can do it in 15 minutes. All you have to do is a Google search. Reach out to your local community. We are desperate to make new friends. So yeah, we want to get you in the fold. You've got all the support you want. You just need to ask for it.
That's great. That's great. And what do you think has kept you vibrant and healthy all these years?
A lot of the things I've talked about. I like having my garden. I love having my circle of friends, and my husband, who is still a kick after all these years, and knowing I'm, when I play with animals, I'm also not, going home and eating them, that I'm protecting the planet. I think I'm very lucky.
Well, that's great. And I'm sure that your eating habits do have a lot to do with your health as well.
Oh, I'm desperate to get people to eat green food. I love it. It's what I want to.
But I think you hit on some points that are very important as well, and that is relationship is very important, I think, in being happy and healthy, and environment, some of those other things that you mentioned. So doing something you love.
Oh, yeah. That's such an energizer. That's such an up.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Ellen, you have a free gift for our listeners. Can you tell us a little about that?
Well, yes, I'm very excited about it. I keep mentioning pulses because I want people to eat more beans, and they're sustainable because they're easy to grow and they don't demand a lot of water. Every culture has a bean recipe. I say they're so versatile. There's a little black dress of cuisine. They're nourishing. They're high in fiber and protein. So if you buy my book, Feeding the Hungry Ghost, you get for absolutely free my ebook, Beans, A Handful of Magic, which have fabulous recipes in them so you can utilize more pulses in your life, and pulses will put life back in you.
Oh, that was great. Well, thank you for that. And the link to that will be in the email with this interview. So be sure to take advantage of that. I know I am going to. So I love the title of your book, Feeding the Hungry Ghost. It really caught my attention and makes me want to read the book for sure. So I will be buying that book.
Oh, yay. Well, I learned about the hungry ghost when I lived in Tokyo many years ago. It comes from a Tao concept of humans who were so desperate and clutchy, they were hungry even beyond the grave, so they would just come back and haunt you. They were not happy ghosts. So all over Asia in the summer, there are hungry ghost festivals where you go to your local temple and you burn incense and you pray to make them go away, and you give them food offerings. So like a bowl of rice or a bowl of oranges. And I thought, wow, that works for us too. Give us some loving attention and good food, and it quiets our crazy. The thing is, we're not just hungry for food, but for spiritual connection, for love, for relationships, for a healthier life, a healthier planet. And Feeding the Hungry Ghost is about terrific recipes, but it's also about feeding our connection to the earth, to each other, and to ourselves.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah, I think that people I think a lot of people tend to eat for reasons besides being hungry. Mm-hmm. It's a comfort to some for different reasons, and that isn't always a good thing. So, yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, Ellen, we are about out of time, so I have very much enjoyed speaking with you, and I know that our listeners will have gotten some great information from you as well. I encourage them to check out your book, Feeding the Hungry Ghost, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you. What a terrific opportunity. What a terrific community of fabulous people you have gathered here. I'm so glad to be part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in today to the Fabulous Beyond 40 Summit. I'm Lisa Kafer, and be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.